Welcome to Mom Talk, the talk show for mom. I'm Angela Calla, and I will be your host today. We are going to be talking about the sandwich generation. What do we do when we have to take care of our parents and also our children at the same time? And we have today as a guest, Angela Calla. Welcome, Angela. Welcome to Mom Talk.
Thank you for having me.
So, Angela, you are a mortgage expert, an author, a business leader. You're a well-accomplished woman. I know you since quite a while, and you're quite everywhere in the Tri-Cities. People love you and know you. So thank you for being here.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
So my first question for you is, can you just explain to us actually what is the sandwich generation like struggles?
Sandwich generation is me and you. We have young kids, and we also have aging parents. And balancing those two can certainly bring its challenges.
Okay, so how can we help them now? Like, we know the affordability of things are through the roof, and also parents, families are getting really stressed. It's hard to manage both things at the same time. Do you have some tips?
It is, and our parents aren't always as transparent with us as we need. And sometimes as the sandwich generation, we're getting the calls when they're already ill. They need to be taken to a hospital. Sometimes we don't know that they need health care that we're unaware of. Sometimes we don't know that they have been struggling financially to make ends meet. And we don't know that perhaps their pension, if they're lucky to have one, or their CPP and OAS, or their investments haven't done what they needed to do. And when we are faced with a very stressful situation, or they've had a very serious health issue and they can't go home to the home that they had before. Us as the sandwich generation, generally, we are the ones who will do what we need to do. Maybe they need to come live with us. Maybe we need to buy their food. Maybe we need to get them home health care, whatever the case is. But when you're the sandwich generation and you have two young kids and you are working Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and we have our own mortgages, this money can't just appear. So we accumulate debt, or we learn that they've had it. And so the absolute best way for your parents to maintain independence and not impact their cash flow, and for you and your spouse to not have any concern about potentially the outlay that you may have had to have, especially when you have your own family and maybe you have brothers and sisters, or your spouse has brothers and sisters, and everybody has a different opinion. But when it's our parents and we're the ones that need to take care of them, how do we give them that independence and have them live independently free? And the lifestyle reverse mortgage is the absolute best product for that, because they access their, most obviously retired on pensions. They don't have the income to qualify for a traditional mortgage. So there's no income qualification for this mortgage. And there's no tax implications because they're not pulling money from investments. The equity in their home is tax-free. And so they can get that money to be able to renovate a home to where it needs to be. They can get that in-home health care that they need. And then don't forget, I mean, we're talking about parents needing that for living and health issues, but they maintain the equity in their home. They maintain the gift that they maybe one day want to give to their loved ones, but they're not having to come up with this money. And if they don't know about this option, the struggle that they have, Genevieve, is that they end up losing their wealth because they use credit cards. They call those private mortgage companies that charge them tens of thousands of dollars in fees. And the money to make those payments just doesn't come out of thin air. And so not knowing about this actually really depletes people's wealth. So you gotta be honest with your families when you're planning financially. And then there's so many more utilizations for this type of lifestyle mortgage. Like Genevieve, I know that you know this, but sadly, did you know that 50% of marriages end in divorce these days?
50%.
So imagine going through a divorce, interest rates are high, you want to keep your home, And maybe your parents want to help you, but they don't have the money to pay monthly and they can't qualify to add as a co-signer. Maybe they have more than one kid. So the reverse mortgage also allows them to give you a lump sum without qualification to be able to buy the home that they need. Or maybe your parents just aren't even suited in the home that they want to be in anymore and they need to downsize to a condo, but it's so overwhelming because of their health. They can't imagine clearing through a home. And they don't even know if they're going to like moving into a condo. So they could even use a reverse mortgage to buy a condo, clear title, and gain revenue from that and decide if they want to move into it or not. And then when they do move into it, they just take what they want from their home, or they take their purse and then they deal with everything else and sell that when the time is right for them. Or maybe they decide to gift that to their children. So these lifestyle mortgages are so beneficial for the whole family to know about. And people think, well, I'm not over 55, I don't want to learn about that. But in today's world and in my culture, the whole families are involved in multi-generational planning. So we can help each other to our best abilities with all the options that are out there. And this is certainly one of the most underutilized products in the country. And it's the fastest growing space in terms of utilization, but also in terms of competition from different lenders to be able to have better pricing for consumers.
So that made me think about my next question. So to qualify or to be able to have a reverse mortgage, is your house has to be completely paid off? Or if you already have a mortgage in your house, how does that work?
So we have a lot of retirees that have a mortgage on their home and they just want to flip the switch. They're just like, why am I paying this mortgage? I'm taking out money from my investments and I'm paying a high tax rate on that to pay a mortgage. Why am I doing this? So you can totally use a reverse mortgage to pay out a regular mortgage and flip the switch to design your life.
Okay. And so I guess instead of paying down your mortgage, you're basically increasing it every month slowly, right?
Yes.
And is it at the same interest rate, or it's a rate that the reverse mortgage gives you? Is it different?
Yes, the interest rates for reverse mortgages are different to reflect the consumer profile.
Okay. Is it usually higher?
Yes, it's usually higher.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I was wondering. Okay.
But you can always redo them as well as time goes on. So there's a lot of different options that are available with them. And I know that one of the biggest things that elderly couples are most proud of is that it does offer spousal protection. Because imagine going through the loss of a spouse and then worrying about having to requalify with a regular mortgage is just incredibly daunting. So to be able to know that, you are still in control of everything, and this is really about protecting you and not putting you in a vulnerable situation is comforting to a lot of Canadians.
I want to talk a bit about mental health and stress with financial stress, right? So I know burnout and depression, family that feel like they're juggling everything. Do you have any tips? Do you have any ideas for families out there?
Absolutely. I mean, personally, my parents have had their fair share of health scares over the last decade, both at different times. One right when I delivered my first, and then most recently. And you really have to put a plan in place and not be afraid to ask for help. Instantly, I went out and delegated the meal service because I knew that was something I couldn't do. I barely cook for my own family, like boxed macaroni and cheese, come on. So when you're dealing with your parents that have diabetes or sodium things, you really have to outsource that and make sure that, they're getting the proper nutrition. And if you're somebody who can do that, that's amazing. But I know my limitations and I'm honest with myself, and I know that there's no way that I can put together that many meals for them and also with my own family. Also, I know that they need care with, with cleaning and additional eyes other than me. Because again, parents, not that they're hiding or they do it to be burden, but they just are like, oh, they already feel like, it's hard for them to accept that sometimes roles are reversing, and they already know that you're doing so much for them. They don't want to worry you with every little thing, right? So having that extra eye, setting a plan in place, we have cleaning, and also one thing that I know as a mom is I felt really guilty because all my time with the most recent health issue, all my time that I would have spent with my kids, I was spending at a hospital or with my parents.
So lots of guilt.
Lots of guilt, and even my husband, I wasn't seeing him anymore either. So with that in mind, we had really struggled with, do we go ahead with a holiday that we had planned for 3 years for a week? And I didn't realize until I got there that I was completely on empty inside, and there was just no way that I could handle anything else. But you can order groceries online. You can order your parents skip the dishes if the meal delivery service didn't come. You have to rely on the people that say, what can I do? You have to say, I need to be able to count on you. If my dad needs to go to the hospital, that you will take him, that I can call you in the middle of the night and that you will take him. And when you need someone to get eyes on them because you just want to make sure that they said they're okay, but I really want to check all the medical equipment to make sure, you have to actually take that. And that's hard for a lot of people, and especially like high producing, busy people, it's hard to accept the help, but you have to be honest with yourself and say, this is what I need, do it, and you do have to take the break, because now I feel that my cup is ready to give more, whereas before I didn't realize how much I had missed with my own kids and how drained I was.
I know, sometimes it's very difficult. Reach out for help. Well, thank you so much, Angela. It was amazing to have you. This conversation was amazing. I'm sure it's going to help a lot of moms.
Thank you.
To contact us or to view all our available episodes, you can find us at mom-talk.ca. You can also find us on our YouTube channels at Mom Talk, and also under the Tri-Cities Community Television, and also on our podcast at Mom Talk, formerly Parent Talk Podcast. So if you're an expert, we want to hear from you. Please reach out. Maybe you want to come on the show and visit us. So Mom Talk would like to thank our general sponsor, the Tri-Cities Community Television, and also TELUS Optic TV, and our community sponsors, La Société Francophone de Maillardville, because sometimes we're going to have some shows in French. So if you know a mom that would benefit from this episode, we're inviting you to share this episode with her. As always, remember, it's important to laugh, keep learning, cherish your village, and be true to yourself. I'm Genevieve Calla, and thank you for joining us. Bye.
Visit us at mom-talk.ca to access our podcast library and stay up to date with our latest content. Follow us on social media for more tips, hacks, and inspiration. Thank you for joining us on this exciting journey of motherhood.